Hey boys and girls, today we're starting module 11. Right now we're going to complete the Are You Ready? So the first section is talking about parts of a whole. So it says write the fraction that names the equal part, then write a fraction to name the shaded part of the whole. So for example, number 1, the first part that says each equal part is blank. Each of these equal parts is 1/3. Okay, I see 3/3. So each fraction of these is 1/3. And blank is shaded in. I see 1, 2 thirds shaded in. Okay, so you can go ahead and do the same thing for number 2. The next section is add fractions to find the sum. So again, remember when we add fractions, the denominator needs to be the same. So luckily for you, all the denominators in all these problems are the same, and you just add the numerators. So 1 plus 1 is 2, and the denominator stays the same, it is 8. Okay, you can complete the rest for 4, 5, and 6. Relate multiplication and division. Write the related facts for each set. For example, here they give me 4, 5, 20. Notice the signs as they switch. So I know here I'm going to start with 20 divided by 4 would give me 5. The next one I could say 4 times 5 gives me 20. And then I'll look at the next one, it's division. So now I'm going to say 20. I'm not going to say divided by 4 because I already did that in my first one. So I'm going to say 20 divided by 5 gives me 4. And finally, I'm not going to do 4 times 5. I'm going to do 5 times 4 because I already did 4 times 5. And then, of course, that equals 20. Go ahead and do the same thing with numbers 8 and 9. 3 pounds. He divides the potato salad into quarter-pound servings. My goal, how many quarter-pound servings does Josiah have? Okay, so it wants me to complete the equation. So I started with 3 pounds, okay? So that's what we have. We're starting with 3 pounds, and he divides each potato salad in each pound into a quarter. Okay, so I can check, and that's what he did, right? Each potato salad was divided into quarters. So now it wants me to draw a picture to represent the situation. So I'm going to put out 3 equal sized squares. So I'm going to cut these all into 4 pieces. So that's 1, each of the 3 pounds into 4 pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and save that, and we can look at their sample drawing, very similar to what I just did above. Okay. So B says, how many rectangles did you draw to represent the dividend? Remember, the dividend we said was 3, okay? It is how much he started with, okay? And it is what he is going to cut up. So I drew 3 rectangles. That is 3. Yep, only 1 rectangle represents a pound of salad, so drawing 3 rectangles would represent the 3 salads that we're going to use to represent the dividend. How did you represent the divisor in your visual model? Well, the divisor was 1/4, right? And I represented that by cutting up each of the pounds or each of the rectangles into 4 equal parts. Okay? Part D, how does your visual model represent the quotient? Okay? So the quotient is our S here, it's what we're looking for. Okay? The number of parts in the rectangles, let me go to our picture. The number of parts in our rectangles represents the quotient. So here I have 1 pound. I cut it up into fourths, right? There are a total of 3 pounds, 3 rectangles, right? I cut each of them into 4 pieces. So that means each of these parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, those 12 parts represent the quotient. Okay, so that's what this is here. The number of total parts in the 3 rectangles represents the quotients. Part E says, how many quarter-pound servings of potato salad does Josiah have? I just counted them for us. I counted each of these parts. It says, how many fourths does he have now? He has 12 fourths. Okay, this is what we started with, right? The 3 divided by 1/4 equals, that's what got us our answer, right? That's how we got 12. 3, this is how we divide fractions. Multiplied, and then you're going to switch, you're going to flip this fraction 1/4, and you're going to make it 4/1 instead. Okay, and that's what's going to get you your answer. And remember, Just like how we did with the lesson before this, when we were multiplying fractions, you can't multiply by a whole number. You got to put a 1 under a whole number so they can multiply. I didn't change the value. That's still a 3. Okay? Now times 4 over 1. 3 times 4 equals, watch this, 12 over 1, right? Because 1 times 1 is 1. And that gives me 12. And that's exactly what we got as our answer. We got 12 quarter pieces, right? So let's check our work. 3 times 4 gives me 12. 3 rectangles are each divided into fourths. There are 3 groups of 4. So 3 divided by 1/4 is the same thing as saying 3 times 4 equals 12. And I'm just going to have this here on the side because I want to reference the differences in these two drawings. Okay? So here it says at Josiah's cookout, okay, 4 friends share 1/3 of a watermelon equally. What fraction of a whole watermelon does each friend get? Okay? So again, now there's 4 friends, okay? And they are sharing the watermelon equally. 1/3 of the watermelon. So I'm starting with 1/3, okay? And I'm dividing it amongst the 4 friends, right? This is how much of the watermelon is that they have, the 1/3 of it, and they're sharing with 4 people. So I'm dividing it by 4, and that tells me how much watermelon each person is going to get. Now I have to draw my picture. Now watch what happens. Here I drew 3 separate rectangles to represent 3 separate pounds. Here it's not 3 separate thirds, it's 1/3. Now we're going to go ahead and draw following the steps they tell us in part B. So first thing they tell me is they want me to draw a visual model to represent the equation, follow the steps as a guide. First, draw a rectangle to represent the entire watermelon. Rectangle, check. Part 2, divide the rectangle to represent the dividend. My dividend is 1/3. That is how much the friends that Josiah is eating with, that's how much they are going to have. So I'm going to separate the entire rectangle into thirds. Step 3, divide the dividend to represent the divisor. So now what it wants me to do is I'm going to cut up each of these dividends. Remember I said the dividend was 1/3. We have 1/3. That's my dividend. It wants me to divide the dividend to represent the divisor. My divisor was 4. So I'm going to cut each of these into 4 equal pieces. The next part says divide the other sections the same way. You might be asking, why am I doing this? You're not going to eat that one. Well, because if I want to say how much or what part of the watermelon that the friend each gets, I need to know that all parts of my watermelon are the same. I can't have over here this be whatever this is. I don't know what this is. It's a fourth of a third now, right? I don't know what a fourth of a third is. So I have to cut all this up to know, okay, what are they all the same unit of measure. Think about if this was fraction tiles. I know I have a third, right? Three thirds. That's what I first cut this up into. But how much are these little tiny pieces that I'm cutting up now? And that's what we're going to figure out. Finally, the last part says shade the part that each friend gets. Well, if this is the part right here that all friends are eating, this first third, and they cut it up into 4 pieces, how much does one friend get? Well, they're going to get this much. This is how much one friend is going to get if they're only going to go ahead and eat this part of the watermelon. They're eating only this first third, and I cut it, and it's 4 friends eating this first third, then each friend is going to get this much. So I'm going to hit save on that. Now I'm going to just look at their sample drawing just to see if we're on track. We were. Did the same thing as they did. Part C says, what fraction of the whole watermelon does each friend get? Well, here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pieces. So if the fraction of the entire watermelon, each friend got a 12th. Okay? If I divide 1/3 of the watermelon by 4, then the quotient is 12. So now it wants me to complete the related multiplication equation to represent the problem. So I had 1/3 divided by 4 to give me my answer. Remember what we did with the other problem? We went and we flipped everything to get our equation. It's the same exact thing that's happening here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip it. They already flipped the 4 for me. Now it's 1/4. I'm not going to change my 1/3. And 1 times 1 is 1, 4 times 3 is 12. Check my answer. 4 friends share 1/3 of the watermelon equally. Each friend gets 1/4 of the 1/3. The related multiplication equation is 1/4 times 1/3 equals 112. And then if I had to explain it, it's what we just said. The quotient 1/3 divided by 4 is the same exact thing as the product 1/4 divided by 1/3. Do not forget to go ahead and complete the check understanding. All right, it's only one question. It wants you to represent the situation with a visual model, then write a division equation and the related multiplication equation. So you're doing both just like how we were doing over here. We drew our picture, right? And then we went ahead and we wrote our division equation, and then we wrote our related multiplication equation. So go ahead and use that practice of flipping the second fraction. All right, if you have any questions, comment below. And always, I will see you today at 1 p.m. for our WebEx.